mentioned Congressman Ryan's proposal, and the House has taken action on that. Could you give us your thoughts on how that's going to be dealt with in the Senate, and also the debt ceiling issue?
I'm not positive if Ryan's budget will come up in the Senate. I think there's a chance. The Democrats control the agenda, so we're not always sure what gets introduced. We can a lot of times amend things or propose amendments, and that's how I got several of these things to get votes on, is by simply amending it. So I think there's a chance we will amend it. I would like to amend it with a proposal that actually balances. So there's a chance that we'll actually try my 5-year plan and see what we get as far as getting some votes there. With regard to the debt ceiling, I think it's a bad idea for a country to default. So I agree with everybody who says that we shouldn't default. But that doesn't, to me, mean that you have to raise the debt ceiling. We bring in $200 billion a month, and there's a proposal that I support by Senator Pat Toomey from Pennsylvania, and his proposal is about 13 sentences long, and it tells the Treasury to pay the debt, the interest on the debt, as a primary concern out of money that comes in. We bring in $200 billion a month. Our interest payment is much smaller than $200 billion. We could actually probably pay interest and all the Social Security checks just on what comes in. But that also shows you how big the problem is. The rest of government, including national defense, probably wouldn't be funded. So there are problems. But I would say we should force it on the debt ceiling. All 47 Republicans in the Senate, with Senator McConnell's leadership, have signed on to a balanced budget amendment. The House, though, is not really bringing forward a balanced budget amendment because this is a little bit of the funny situation we've got, because Ryan's plan doesn't balance for 28 years. I think they're a little embarrassed to introduce a balanced budget amendment. But I think we have the numbers in the House to pass it. Republicans alone will be within a few votes. They will only need a small amount of Democrats in the House to pass the balanced budget amendment. We're much farther away in the Senate. We would need 20 Democrat votes. But I'm convinced they will not balance the budget ever until they're forced to. And so I think we need to amend the Constitution. We can do one more if we have one more.
Don Jacobs from Lexington. Since today is tax day, I was wondering if you could help us maybe understand the future of the tax code. There seems to be, every year there's a lot more discussion, and there seems to be maybe some momentum to have a flat tax or have a simpler tax code. So what type of momentum is there realistically in the Senate?
Last year at Fancy Farm, I brought a symbolic tax code with me, and I thought it'd be very funny. It didn't turn out that well, but it took like, I think, 10 boxes. It was 10 feet high. I think the tax code is, the number of pages that go into it is just beyond, it boggles the mind. Yeah, I think we should simplify it. Now, realize that the debate, and there is a debate going on, and we may get something out of this. Tax simplification means taking away deductions. If you do that, my only concern is that the trade-off, the rate that we give you is going to be low enough that you don't lose deductions and pay a higher tax. So I don't want to give them any more money. They're not to be trusted up there. So we have to figure out how we can reduce taxes, simplify, at the very least break even, but I'd really like government to be smaller. But to do that, you have to acknowledge and not come to me always, not you, but you in general, wanting something. And that's the problem, is everybody's still coming wanting something. But I think we should simplify, whether it be a fair tax or a flat tax. If we could go to a national sales tax, I would support it. I think it'll be trouble passing that, though, because 47% of Americans don't pay any income tax now. And they're not going to be really excited about paying a 20 or 30% sales tax. Sales tax is going to be tough to pass. I think a flat tax, you'd have a little bit easier way of doing it, because also a flatter tax or a lower rate, there's a possibility it actually generates more income. You pay a lower rate, but there's a possibility more income comes in. Corporate tax is a great example. It's a great example also of how taxes are driving business overseas. I know some of the people, and I've talked to them at Brown-Forman over in Louisville. They hire 1,000 people. Well, they compete with Bacardi, who lives in, or is originated out of Bermuda, and they pay an effective rate of 9%. Brown-Forman's paying 35%. How long is it going to be till someone like McCarty then buys Brown Forman, and we lose those jobs in our state. And that's true of a lot of corporations. If you're involved in international business, you can tell that your competitors are paying lower taxes. If we were to lower the corporate tax significantly, see, we're competing with even Canada. Canada's at 17%, we're at 35%. We have priced ourselves out of the market. But while that is a great idea to lower the corporate income tax, it would probably cause a huge boom like what happened when Reagan lowered taxes in the 80s. You have to do it, but you have to also cut spending. And that's the problem. Is people want lower taxes, and they understand that that will help the business community and help jobs, but they also still come to me with their other hand out saying they want more stuff from government. So we have to acknowledge that more stuff could be done either privately or by local government and not in Washington, and then we could lower tax rates. Thank y'all.